My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of Prometheus. And this review will have spoilers, so there's your warning. But this is a very divisive movie. I remember back in 2012, everybody seemed to hate this movie. Everybody seemed to be disappointed by it. So when I watched it for the first time, my expectations were at rock bottom. And I just remember that first viewing being like, holy shit, what is wrong with everyone? That was great! Like, I've never understood the negativity surrounding this movie, and over the past 12 years, my love for this movie has only grown. I think this is a phenomenal movie, and I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. I think it's a sci-fi masterpiece. So let's begin talking about the cast. And Nomi Rapace, I think, does a really great job. She brings enough personality to her character. She's smart, she's confident, and there's a level of depth to her. But she really sells you on the pain and agony this character is experiencing in the last act. She just really highlights that so incredibly well, and I was impressed. Then you've got Logan Marshall Green, who's kind of known as a Tom Hardy lookalike, but I really do think he's good in this movie. I like how we can see his streeter side when he's with his wife, but we can also see how he's a bit of a dick when it comes to David, and I think he brings enough charisma to this character where he's able to stand out. You've also got Idris Elba, who just has this commanding presence to him. Anytime he's on screen, you can't look away. He's just that good. Charlize Theron doesn't have a ton to do, but I still think she elevates this character. She brings enough charisma and screen presence to her. Then you've also got Sean Harris, who I think stands out in the minimal screen time he has. Rafa Spall, perfectly fine job, just not the meatiest role. But let's talk about the best performance in this movie, and it's Michael Fassbender as David. This should have gotten Michael Fassbender at the very least an Oscar nomination. This is an incredible performance. He just demands your attention whenever he's on screen, and you're always just trying to think, like, what is this guy going to do next? He's very unpredictable in the best way possible. He's unnerving, and we just see all these different sides of him that he's just a presence that always has you on edge. And yeah, just Michael Fassbender's finest hour, still to this day if you ask me. Now let's talk about the direction by Ridley Scott, and I think this is his most impressive work. This movie is visually remarkable. The cinematography by Dariusz Wolowski is just beautifully done. The CGI holds up incredibly. Like, it's just seamless. And that scene with all the different holograms just looks breathtaking. It kind of reminds me of Treasure Planet, but yeah, really phenomenal sequence that I remember being impressed by the 3D there when I saw it in theaters. The production design is top notch. The costumes, the makeup, all look great. But I also really like the music by Mark Statenfield. It just adds this sense of awe and wonder and discovery to this movie. It kind of sounds like something you would hear on like a Disney ride, and I think it really works for this movie. I also like how this movie kind of maintains that alien DNA, that biological whole, that creature future to a degree, while still making it feel fresh and new. So like it feels like an alien movie, but it doesn't feel redundant at this point. I also think this movie is thrilling and tense when it needs to be. That C-section scene is just like palms are sweaty, mom spaghetti, and it's just a really unnerving sequence. I also like everything that happens to Holloway, and even how he comes back as like a space zombie. Like that sequence is just awesome. I love how you've got the giant face hugger, and I like how it builds upon the mythology of the Alien movies, but like there's still plenty of questions you have. Like it gives you some answers, but like you have so many more questions, and it just opens up discussions and theories, and it makes the movie more interesting to talk about. But what really elevates this movie for me isn't that it's just a thrilling, intense movie with aliens and stuff like that. It's that there's so much more to this movie thematically. Like, there's an entire aspect of this movie about faith versus science. It's about the purpose of life. It's about creation and our relationship to our creator. And this desire to create more life, how we view it as a form of evolution to a degree. Also, I like how it explores science and what it takes to find answers, the experimentation needed. Like, there is so much to this movie to digest and to break down that I find it so compelling. So it's like an entertaining movie. It's a movie that gets me on the edge of my seat, but it also leaves you thinking about so much. One of my favorite scenes in the movie is just this discussion between Holloway and David. Well, David's just like to Holloway, well, why did you create me? And Holloway's like, I don't know, because we could. And David's like, wouldn't it be disappointing to get that same answer from your creator? And just that scene, honestly, one of my favorite bits in a movie ever. I think it's so fascinating that people just create simply because they can, and yet we try to find greater purpose in it. And I think there's just so much to this movie. Like, it just delivers on everything I would want it to. Like, I can't believe that this movie is as hated as it is. Like, if you just wanted xenomorphs, then yeah, like, you're gonna be disappointed. And I know so many of the complaints I hear, but most of them are just nitpicks to me. The two scientist dudes messing around with that worm is, first of all, a great sequence. I like how the guy's thing melts and he can't breathe and the other guy gets a really brutal death. That's a great moment. But people are idiots, and I think it's realistic how they act. Like, people always watch movies like, oh, I would never do that, or I would never be that stupid. But most of the time, they would, and they are. Like, it's just a reality. I know people also complain about the fact that Shaw's running around at the end of the movie after she gets a C-section, and I can understand that to a degree. She is constantly injecting herself with some sort of a painkiller, so I can forgive it enough, but I don't know. I just feel like so many of these complaints are nitpicky. Like, I don't know, it feels like something you would see on CinemaSins, which you probably did see on CinemaSins. I'm not a fan of that kind of film criticism. To me, I just think there's so much more interesting things to explore with this movie. It is big, it's ambitious, it takes risks, it delivers on what you want from a movie like this, managing to be tense and thrilling, but also delivers on some big ideas, and I think it's a very thoughtful movie. I think the performances are great. I think the way David just messes around with everything is fascinating, and this is a movie I've gone back to time and time again. Like, I've watched it so many times in the past decade. Like, this might be one of my most revisited movies, and I love it. I'm giving Prometheus a 9 out of 10. Okay, have you seen Prometheus? What did you think about it? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos soon. And Gavin